Hey guys, in this tutorial we're going to create these free iOS UIs in Adobe XD. Now I want to remind you that I recently launched an Adobe XD course, so if you're interested in bringing your knowledge of this software to the next level, feel free to check it out in a link in the description. But now without further ado, let's jump into the video. Alright, so let's get started, and the very first thing that we're going to select is the iPhone artboard. So we're going to go with the 12 Pro Max. Now let's resize this in just a moment. And what we're gonna do is we're going to start creating this actually onboarding screen. So the very first thing that we're gonna add is going to be a headline. So this is going to say welcome, and we're going to change the text from Helvetica Neue to Lato. Now we're going to make this headline a little bit bigger, not too much, and we're going to make it heavy in order to give a little bit more of a user friendliness feeling, if that's even a word, but you get the point. So basically let's add over here the title, and just below it we're going to add a subtitle which is going to essentially describe what's going on. So maybe something around the lines of starting your onboarding process to access the app, and we're just making this one on the spot, and so far so good. All right, let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's center it, and as you can see, this is starting to take shape in an interesting way. All right, so far so good. Now we're going to go ahead and add a button at the very bottom section, and this button is going to say continue. So let's go ahead over here and select this text. Let's write it in continue. Let's make this bold, and let's drag it over here. All right, so let's actually bring this one up, and we're going to change the color of this button to something around this blue tint. Also want to remove the border, and we wanted to give it some sort of a radius. Let's go ahead here, change this one. Maybe let's make it just 1 or 2 points bigger. And so far so good. We're also going to add a shadow, which in essence is going to be an outer radius, and we're going to make it a little bit less pronounced, and we're going to add a bit more of a blur. Maybe let's make it even a bit more. So it just adds a little touch to this onboarding. All right, so at this point we're pretty much set with the basic layout. What we want to add now is we're going to add some elements from this amazing pack which I recently downloaded on UI8. As you may know, I have the unlimited pass, so I like to browse around, and I essentially found this playful line illustration pack which looks really cool, and I'm going to show you the actual Adobe XD file. This pack comes in a lot of different file formats, and you can see you're going to find it in the link in the description. So let's go ahead and maybe let's use this icon for this first screen. So we're going to go with some sort of some sort of like humor. So it's not going to be like a super serious app or anything like that. So let's do that, and we're going to write something below, which is going to be login. And let's actually give it a or login in case the user already has an account. All right, so far so good. And we're going to make this just a little bit lighter when it comes to the text. And probably let's make the login in a button, or maybe not. We can simply add a little bit more space to it so it's still clear and easy to reach. All right, so far so good. Now I want to add some sort of element which is going to possibly convey some visual interest behind. So let's bring this one here. And let's remove the border, and let's change this to a color around these lines. And maybe that could work. Maybe we want to give it a bit of a radius, or actually just stretch it really, and add a little bit less opacity. Trying to think what could actually work in this specific scenario, and maybe something around these lines could do the job. Again, it's just a matter of experimenting and trying different things. But yeah, so far so good. Now let's go ahead and let's duplicate the screen, and we're going to add the second step, and actually let's add a bar at the very top, which is going to essentially give a hint to the user as to which step they are currently on. Let's make this 100% radius. Let's change the color, and I'm going to duplicate it once and twice. And let's make these light gray, and also a little bit smaller in height and more near to each other. And that will do. All right, so far so good. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to use the same color as the sample, and let's move this guy right here, though for some reason it's not staying inside the artboard, which is the goal at this point. Actually, let's get rid of it for the time being. And one thing I want to do is I'm going to go back over here, add it again, and yeah, there we go. Okay, so basically it's not in the artboard as long as I have it selected. But yeah, that's totally fine. All right, so far so good. Let's bring this guy to the very bottom. Let's change the text, and let's say something around the lines of verification. You'll need to verify your account in order to access the app. And let's find a verification or something that could be related to the specific topic over here, and really find anything specific, although we could potentially use something around the lines of this lock icon. I think that will do the job. And yeah, this is looking pretty interesting. And let's go ahead here, let's bring it to the center, let's make it a little bit bigger. And there we go. All right, so far so good. Continue to final step. Let's just change things up a little bit. And we're going to assume that the verification is going to happen in the app. So it's just to let them know that there's going to be a verification going on in just a bit. And let's go here. So make this one here. Okay, so this is going to be a success screen. So let's find some sort of icon which is going to be good in this specific scenario. So maybe you can go with something around these lines, or maybe something more playful. Something like, well, let's just keep that one for now. Maybe let's find a more complex illustration, something like that. Oh, this one probably can look pretty good. So let's go for it. And I think I also like the fact that it has like this this circle behind. And there we go. All right, so far so good. And I was thinking that maybe in this verification we'll need to add a few input forms just to make this actually more relevant. So let's go ahead over here. Let's sample the same color. And we're going to have a white fill and a border, which is going to essentially be something on the light side, I would assume. Let's bring this to the left. Let's make it medium. This is going to be full name. Oops, I literally wrote in full name on the text. All right, and I'm probably going to keep the drop shadow as well. I think it looks pretty interesting visually. So let's write in the phone number, and then we're going to go with the country. Though this is not like a proper verification, but since we're making this one up on the go, I think it's okay. So we have here Nucleo app opened, and you can find it on nucleoapp.com. I think it's the website, and basically you can, as you can see, drag and drop the icons directly on the canvas. All right, so far so good. Let's actually select these guys. Let's make it 1.5. Maybe let's make the text just 1 point smaller. All right, so there we go. And let's change this one. And let's also change the names of these artworks. And we're pretty much set. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.